Hello, Luray Bullpups. Today we're going to be hosting our day 3 of Real Plants vs. Zombies. If we take a look at our bracket here, we know that yesterday most of you voted for zombie fungus against the Venus flytrap. Today, 86% of students voted for zombie snail over the common bladderwort, so zombie snail will move on by a landslide. Now for today, we're going to have the giant pitcher plant versus the emerald cockroach wasp. Ugh. So let's listen to Mrs. Crawl as she shares the giant pitcher plant.
Hey guys, Miss Crawl here, and I'm here to tell you about a really cool plant. This plant was discovered in Southeast Asia on top of Mount Victoria, which is a mountain in the Philippines. And it was discovered in 2000, so that's only 20 years ago. The name of this plant is the Nepenthes attenborough I. Nepenthes attenborough I. Can you say that 3 times? And the common name is the giant pitcher plant. So Monday you heard about the Venus flytrap and how it eats insects and it catches bugs in its leaves. Well, this is also a carnivorous plant, which means it eats meat, and it will eat bugs if it gets them, but it also will eat rodents. So mice and rats are rodents, and it will eat the rodents. It is the second largest plant in the world, and it can grow up to more than 4 feet tall, which is probably at least as tall and maybe taller than a few of you. It's big, and it's shaped like a pitcher. So a pitcher that you pour water out of or juice or whatever, it's shaped like that. And inside there's lots of liquid enzymes and acids. And so those cute little mice and rats and other things, frogs, they smell the nectar that's on the outside around the edge, and they think, oh, I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to have some good food. And they go to get that, and they fall into that pitcher, and they drown, and then those enzymes eat them up. It's kind of disgusting, right? It is not fun for the poor mice and rodents. Some people have asked Mr. McPherson, who discovered this plant, about cultivating it, growing it, to use as mouse traps for places like New York City that are rodent infested. He didn't think that seemed like a great idea. He said it was a bit far-fetched, which means not likely to happen. But that's what our plant is today. It is, again, the Nepenthes attenborough I, or the giant pitcher plant. Have a good day.
Okay, so thanks to Ms. Crawl for bringing us that information. Some few interesting facts about it, just to sum up. It is in Southeast Asia. It can consume insects and even rodents, as you see in the photo there. And it can even grow up to be about 4 feet tall. And no, it won't substitute as a mousetrap, as she said. Now, Miss Gray is going to bring us the emerald cockroach.
All right,
wasp.
boys and girls, Miss Gray here, and today we're going to be talking about the jewel wasp and how it turns cockroaches into zombies. And there's a picture of the wasp. It's pretty scary. Pretty spooky looking anyway. I don't know if cockroaches dream, but I imagine if they do, jewel wasps are in their nightmares. These small tropical wasps are of little concern to us humans because they can't manipulate our minds and serve us up to meals as their newborns are ready to feed like they do unsuspecting cockroaches. It's the stuff out of horror movies, quite literally. The jewel wasp is basically like an alien. The story is simple. The female wasp is able to control the mind of the cockroaches she feeds to her offspring. She takes away their sense of fear and willingness to escape and then turns them into a meal. But unlike what we see on any big screen movies, it's not some incurable virus that turns the healthy cockroach into a mindless zombie. It's venom. Not just any venom either. A specific venom that acts like a drug targeting the cockroach's brain. Brains are just neurons, whether talking human brains or insect brains. There are potentially millions of venom compounds that could turn the neurons on and off and control how they work. So it should come as no surprise that some venoms target the central nervous system, and some leap over physiological hurdles and go past the blood-brain barrier and enter the victim's minds. Others are directly injected into the brain, like the jewel wasp does with its zombie cockroach host. The making of a zombie. Jewel wasps are a beautiful, if terrifying, example of how neurotoxic venoms can do much more than paralyze. The wasp begins her attack by swooping down from above and grabbing the roach with her mouth as she aims the stinger at the middle of the body, in between the cockroach's first pair of legs. This quick jab takes only a few seconds and the venom compound starts to work, paralyzing the cockroach and preventing it from moving so she can move in for the next sting. With her long stinger, she targets her mind-altering venom into 2 areas of the ganglia, which is basically the insect's brain. The wasp's stinger is so well tuned to its victim that it can sense where inside the cockroach's brain that it needs to put the venom. The stinger will feel around inside their brain, find the right spot, and inject it right inside. Then the mind control begins. First, the cockroach grooms itself of all things, and this takes about a half an hour. Scientists have shown that this behavior is about stressing the cockroach out, and the contact with the wasp without the stinging didn't make the hygiene and make them want to clean themselves. After this, then their brains produce a chemical called dopamine. So this chemical is like the reward system of the brain. It's their good feeling chemical. We have this in our brain too. But for this cockroach, it feels super happy, but we don't really know because it's about to meet the end of its life. So we'll see. While the cockroach is claiming its body, the wasp leaves him alone in search of a good location. She needs a dark burrow where she can leave her baby and the zombie roach, and it takes little time to find the right place. When she returns about 30 minutes later, the venom's effect have taken over the cockroach's whole body, and it won't flee away. For this cockroach, it's simply too long and it's too late. Before its brain has a chance to come back to normal, the wasp has already had its fill and killed its host. So the baby has already eaten it before it even realizes what happens. And it goes into some details talking about different parts of the brain, and those are a little complicated for us, so we're going to skip over those. Although the venom can cut their brain activity that would make the prey flee, what they can't do is make their way to the right parts of the cockroach brain by themselves. That's why the wasp has to go in and make sure it puts the venom right in the right spot of the brain to make it work and zombify the roach. The wasp can replenish her energy after the roach is in its zombie state by breaking the cockroach's antenna and drinking some of the insect's blood. She leads the victim to its final resting place using the antenna like reins on a horse, and she pulls its antenna and leads it to the baby. Then she seals it inside of the burrow and lets the cockroach and the baby in the burrow to be eaten. Fresh meals. As if the mind manipulation wasn't bad enough, the wasp venom has one final trick. While the cockroach awaits its inevitable doom, the venom slows down its metabolism to ensure it lives long enough to be devoured while it's fresh. Ew. So it makes sure its baby has a fresh meal. So I guess it is a good mom, just bad for the cockroach.
So as Miss Gray said, it may be a good mom, it's just not a great friend to the cockroach. So the emerald cockroach wasp A few facts: it takes over the cockroach's mind with stings. The cockroach then makes a burrow and ends up. The wasp lays the eggs with the cockroach, and the baby wasps hatch and eat the cockroach. Yikes! So vote for your most gruesome or crazy or grotesque creature by clicking on the link that is provided, or you can email me at cbailey@pagecounty.k12.va.us with your name and your vote between the emerald cockroach wasp or the giant pitcher plant. Thank you for your time, Bullpups.